Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today's video is going to be just like a casual get ready with me. I was going to sit down and test out the ColourPop Just My Luck palette, so I thought I would do it on camera. I would love to hear what you guys think of this palette because I know a ton of you guys bought it, and if you have like a favorite color combination, I always ask this about new palettes, but if there's like a favorite look that you love to do, please share it in the comments below. Okay, let me start with primer. My skin is looking rough. It's finally clearing up a little bit, but whenever we go out of town, my skin freaks out no matter what, and it breaks out. But on top of that, I had a facial about a week ago, and I've never experienced this, but I actually got extractions done, and I don't know if it's like the type of thing where your skin looks worse before it looks better, or if my skin was super sensitive, if it was, you know, a little bit of a rough technique, or if it's just like a combination of everything. But my skin, it's not its best self. So we're going to go in with a primer. I'm actually trying out a new one today. I've been using the Milk Makeup Hydro Grip Primer, but I'm going to use it in an upcoming video because I've really tested it out thoroughly. So I want to give you guys a full review. So I'll save this one. But I haven't tried out the Henriksen Banana Bright Face Primer, so that's the one I'm going to go in with today. I was so excited about this product because I love the Banana Bright Eye Cream, and this one is supposed to be a luminizing makeup primer that contains like vitamin C and brightening pigments and just like soft focus properties to illuminate the entire complexion, blur the look of fine lines and wrinkles, and just prep your skin for foundation. So it's kind of like a primer and skincare product all in one, or like a primer that has skincare benefits. It feels like a pretty thick moisturizer. My skin does get red really easily, especially if I use an exfoliator in the morning, which I did use today. So it's pretty red. I don't know if this product is going to have instant brightening effects or if it's more so going to brighten the skin over time. It does have a very strong scent. It has like a strong citrus scent, not a banana scent. So far so good. I think it left my skin very naturally illuminated, which I do like. And like I said, it's a little bit of a thicker primer. So I think my foundation is going to go on really easily. My only concern is that it might tend to slide off because I do have oily skin. It didn't really necessarily sink into the skin like other moisturizing primers. It feels pretty heavy on the skin, but at the same time, I think that could potentially blur fine lines and wrinkles like it claims to do. So we'll see once I apply the foundation. So I'm mixing the Fenty foundation in the shade 150 with the Smashbox Studio Skin Hydrating Foundation in the shade 1.05. Neither one of them is like a perfect match for me, and the formulas are completely different. The Fenty foundation is more of like a thin matte formula, and the Smashbox foundation, the texture is somewhat similar, but it's definitely more of like a hydrating, glowy foundation. So I find that they balance each other out really, really nicely. I will list all of the brushes and products that I'm using in today's video in the description box below, so you guys can check them out if you're interested, along with like links and prices, so that way you're not missing out on anything in case I forget to mention it. Okay, I feel like this is blending out really nicely so far on top of the primer. Like you can definitely, or I can definitely tell that the primer really did smooth my skin. I'm pretty impressed by this one. Like you can even see the glow underneath the foundation. I will say the Smashbox foundation, because it is a hydrating formula, does look pretty glowy and just really beautiful on the skin on its own. I think this foundation combination might be a little bit light for me. I try to match my face to my neck, and because my face tends to be a little bit red, usually when I'm applying foundation, it looks a little bit light at first, but I did get a slight tan. We weren't actually out in the sun that much because we went on a cruise. We left from New York City and it was pretty cold. I think it was like either raining or sleeting the first day we left. So the second day we were like down by like North Carolina, South Carolina, and the weather was beautiful, but it was actually pretty mild. I don't know, the weather like the entire time was just pretty mild, even when we were in the Bahamas. So I was surprised to get a little bit of a tan because I'm like the type of person that like sits under the umbrella, like puts on a ton of sunscreen, wears a hat. I'm definitely not someone who tries to get a tan because I just get a million freckles anyways. I don't typically get what I would consider tan. I think my skin looks really good. I'm pretty impressed by that primer. Obviously, this is just a first impression. I'm going to do a haul update probably in a few weeks, so I'll be sure to let you guys know what I think about this product after testing it out many, many more times. But honestly, I feel like you can usually tell with primers like right off the bat how they work for you, and I think my skin looks good, especially because, like I said, it wasn't looking the best today. So I will be using a newish concealer. This one is the Smashbox Studio Skin Flawless 24-Hour Concealer. I have two shades. I did get this sent to me in the mail as PR, just so you guys know. The doe foot applicator is kind of like triangular shaped, which is kind of nice. I think that will be really convenient for getting right up under the eyes. Some of the new, I kind of feel like the new concealer trend is for applicators to be so large. And I don't know about you guys, I just prefer a little bit more of like a precise application. So we'll just go in with that much for now. I didn't mix them, so hopefully this one isn't too light. I went in with the shade Fair Light Neutral. I actually feel like I could use a little bit more, so I am going to go in with the shade Light Neutral as well and just apply a little bit more. This doesn't feel like a super full coverage concealer, which is fine. I think most recently, a lot of brands have been releasing like super full coverage concealers, like the new e.l.f. concealer. I don't even know what other brands have done concealer lately. Can you guys see that? I don't know what is going on, but it is literally taking away all of my foundation underneath when I use this brush. I don't know if it's the brush or the concealer. I always use this brush with my concealer, but like I said, I usually use more of a full coverage concealer. This one doesn't seem super full coverage, which is fine, but if that's not the look you're going for, okay, let me use a little more. I usually do go in with a pretty full coverage concealer just because I tend to get really oily right here, so my makeup wears off pretty quickly throughout the day. If I use a lighter concealer, it won't last all day, which is fine, you know, if I'm doing a light makeup day. But today, like I said, my skin wasn't looking the best, so I just wanted something a little more full coverage. I feel like that looks better, but I also feel like I had to use a lot. And if you guys have seen my videos before, like even though I use a full coverage concealer, I don't go in with like those super large triangles of concealer. I just find it to be a little bit heavy and uncomfortable. So maybe that's why I like more of a full coverage concealer, just because I can go in with like the initial amount that I used in today's video. Whereas this one, I think to get more of a full coverage look, you have to build it up, which again is fine, but just in that spot right there, it like completely removed my foundation as I was applying it. Let me set it and see what happens. I always use the Urban Decay Velvetizer to set my concealer into place, and it locks like 99% of concealers into place all day long. So we'll see if this one holds up using this powder. If not, then I think it's safe to blame the concealer and not the primer. I feel like it's a little bit of a high maintenance concealer. Like, it didn't really dry down. It kind of lifted when I applied powder, and it looks a little bit patchy. Let me powder the rest of my face. I'm going to leave that spot alone right now. I'm going to be using the Flower Light Illusion powder, which is one of my favorites. It's a pretty lightweight powder, so it doesn't necessarily like keep your skin looking matte all day long, but it does set your foundation into place really nicely, and it almost has like a very subtle blurring effect. I'm going to pin the issues on the concealer because the rest of my skin actually looks pretty good, especially like my cheek area in general. It just looks very smooth and very even. My chin is like the area where my skin is breaking out, but even my chin looks better than like my under eyes and between my brows. So I have a feeling it was the concealer. So we'll see. I'll definitely try it out a few more times before I include it in like a disappointing products video, or maybe I'll change my mind and actually love it, but it's not looking super promising. So I just primed my eyes and then I set everything into place with a powder. I'm going to be using the ColourPop Just My Luck palette. I am so excited. I purchased this for March, like as my palette for the month, but I didn't get it in the mail before we left to go out of town, so I'm just now sitting down to use it for the first time. I know I'm a little bit late to the game, but I thought I would use it on camera. A lot of the shades are like somewhat similar in tone, like if I went in with any of these shades right here, but I think I'm going to mix it up and use some of these shades as well. All right, let's start with the shade Chances Are, which is the lightest green, and I'm just going to use that as a transition color, kind of like right above the crease, but just go in very lightly. This is a really pretty like light pastel mint green. I'm completely loving these ColourPop 9-pan palettes. The It's by Pleasure palette was the one that I purchased last month. I actually did get ready with me using it if you want to check it out. I'll link it in the eye above my head and in the description box below. But I love that palette. I just think it's such a fun, easy way to add color to your makeup look. And then when we went out of town, I brought the Mar palette with me, which is more of like a warm-toned neutral palette with pops of blue. And I love it. I just think like a 9-pan palette is the perfect size because you don't get overwhelmed by choices. That shadow blended so easily, so beautifully. I actually don't think I have anything like that in any of my other palettes. So I'm going to go in with this shade. We're just going to kind of do a transition. So I'll go in with this medium green shade right here and use that in the crease. Actually, we'll do like crease and outer corner. I just want to kind of make it a little bit darker gradually. Because the shades are, you know, pretty similar in tone, I feel like you can get that nice gradual effect really easily. But I am so excited they released the green palette. I've been wanting them to do it ever since they released It's My Pleasure. I think greens are so much fun to wear. They can be a little bit intimidating, so this is a nice way to add like pops of greens to your makeup collection and only spend $12. Okay, I think I'm going to go in with the shade Act Natural and use that in the outer corner and then again into the crease, but mainly focusing this one in the outer corner just to make the look a little bit more dark and dramatic. By the way, if green looks aren't your thing, I don't know if you're still watching at this point, but I did just film a pretty neutral eyeshadow look that was really simple using the Anastasia Sultry in my last Get Ready With Me, so I'll link that one in the description box below. Sometimes when I film a more colorful look, people are like, you really wouldn't wear that out to like the grocery store or if you were going out in public, and I'm like, yes, I totally would. I totally wear colorful eyeshadow out. I mean, it's just makeup. Honestly, I don't feel like people think it's that weird. I don't think most people care. Like if you're going to the grocery store and someone has green eyeshadow on, I don't really think you're going to care because everybody's just worried about themselves essentially. So I think bright eyeshadow is fun, but I definitely think it takes more time. That's the only issue. Okay, so the only issue that I have with this palette so far is that some of the shades are a little bit more difficult to blend. The first shade was probably the easiest, but as I get darker and darker, I just find that they don't blend as smoothly on the eyes, which can be the case with colorful shadows sometimes. The solution is probably just going to be to take a metallic shadow, blend that all over the lid, and see if I can kind of hide some of the patchiness. Okay, let's move on for now. So there are 4 metallics to choose from. This one, this one, this one, and this one. This would be the easiest if I was doing like a, you know, a monochromatic eye look, but I think I'm tempted to take that one because I think it would be the easiest. I kind of want to use this shade, but I might use that in the inner corner. I think I'll go in with the olive shade. I don't know if it's going to go with this, but we're going to go in with it and try it out. The metallics perform flawlessly. I mean, obviously I've been using it for 0.2 seconds here, but I've never had an issue with a ColourPop metallic shadow. Actually, that's not true. Some of them can be a little bit more like chunky, but those are like the glitter infused metallics. If it's a true ColourPop metallic, they just go on the eyes so, so beautifully. This color would be so pretty with like a brown in the crease or even maybe like that brown toned green. I'm actually going to take a little bit of this like brown toned green to see if we can turn this look around a little bit, just because I think that would look really pretty with this shade all over the lid. So this one actually seems to be blending a little bit better. I just placed it in the outer corner and I'm just kind of blending it into the crease a little bit more, but I don't find that it's as patchy as the shade Act Natural. I definitely think this color in the outer corner looks so, so much better. I wish I had just gone in with like a neutral transition color. I think that would have been a really, really pretty eye look, but I don't know that I love like that blue toned green as the transition color. I'm just going to go back in with that olive shade and intensify it a little bit because some of it got blended away as I was applying the outer corner color. So I do want to use this shade, but I can't tell if I want to put it on the lid or in the inner corner. I wouldn't typically wear a shade like this in the inner corner, so let's actually just stick it right in the center of the lid. The texture of this one feels different. It's not like a completely smooth metallic. I think it might have a little bit of glitter in it. I love that color. It's more of like a golden green. It just looks really, really interesting and really pretty on the eyes. So I'm just going to go in one last time, kind of blend everything together, and then I'm going to go in with liner. So I actually want to use the ColourPop liquid liner in the shade The Hills, which is their green liner. I really enjoy the black liner, and I have used the blue liner. When I did a purple look, I used the blue one, and it turned out really beautifully, but I haven't used the green one yet. So I can never talk and apply eyeliner at the same time, so I'll just kind of apply it and fast forward the clip for you guys. I'm really impressed by how pigmented this is because the blue one is pretty dark, so I expected it to be more of like a saturated color, but this one's a lighter green. Like when you swatch it on your hand, it doesn't look like it's going to be so intense on the eyes. This looks so, so beautiful. It goes on really easily too. I will say that I don't typically wear colorful liquid liner because I like black liner because it really defines the eye. I don't feel like this color really defines the eye, but I do think it is a fun touch. Okay, I'm going to apply some shadow on the lower lash line. I think I'll go in with this shade right here on the lower lash line and see how it looks from there. I'm actually going to take, I can't decide, probably like a little bit of both of these. Let's start with the olive shade first. just because I wanted to kind of match the upper eye look too. We'll just take a little bit of that gold shade and place that on top as well. Okay, I was going to use a green in the waterline, but I think I'm going to use Urban Decay's Gold Mine just because I want it to look even like a little bit more, I want more of a bright look. I can't tell if the gold in the waterline looks weird. I think I'm just going to go in with a little bit of the shade Mildew on top. This is like one of my go-to greens just to tone it down a little bit. I think that looks a little bit better. So I do have a new mascara to test out. This one is the CoverGirl Exhibitionist Mascara. Again, they did send this to me in PR. The wand is very similar to the Too Faced Better Than Sex mascara, and the ColourPop BFF, what am I trying to say? BFF wand was very similar too. I actually didn't end up loving that mascara. I tried to love it, and oh, this one is going on nicely so far. I got a little bit on my lid already, but I'm so excited because it has been so long since I've tried a CoverGirl mascara. Now that they're cruelty-free, I'm just excited. I don't really need a lot of new mascaras at this point, but once I do go out and purchase new mascaras, CoverGirl is like at the top of my list because their mascaras used to be my favorite. They have so many different options. I just think the drugstore in general does mascara really well. This one's going on really nicely. Okay, so I don't like the Too Faced Better Than Sex mascara. I feel like the brush is not as gentle as this one. It hurts my eyes a little bit, and the formula just doesn't do anything for me. But I like this one. I feel like it made my lashes look pretty thick and pretty voluminous with minimal effort. Like sometimes I have to build the mascara up over and over to get pretty thick, voluminous lashes. This is just 2 coats, and I'm pretty impressed by that. So let me apply it to this eye. Okay, so I just did my brows off camera. I used the Anastasia Brow Wiz in the shade Dark Brown to fill them in, and then I just applied the ColourPop Brow Boss Gel in Dark Brown to kind of like fluff them up and lock them into place. Okay, so let me apply bronzer. I'm using Take Home the Bronze by The Balm. I don't know if I told you guys in a video, I did end up repurchasing this. I was going to try to hold off because I was trying to use what I have, which is what I typically try to do once I finish something up. But I went without it for a few months, and it really is one of my favorites. I kind of use it as like a bronzer contour all in one. And honestly, like none of the other bronzers in my collection are the exact right undertone and shade and everything. So I really enjoy this one. I always put the mirror at an awkward angle. Okay, so that was a mistake because as soon as I moved the microphone, apparently the sound cut out. Thankfully, it does come back in just a second, but there is one thing I still wanted to talk about, so I hope you guys don't mind this quick voiceover. After I applied the bronzer, I do go in with like a banana setting powder just to blend everything out and diffuse everything. So I'm just using the Too Faced banana setting powder, and I feel like this just makes the bronzer contour look a little bit more natural because I do go in with a larger contour brush, so it has a tendency to look not as precise as I would like. So I just feel like blending it all together makes everything look more natural and there aren't as many harsh lines. So after I apply that, I was so excited because I was going to use the Natasha Denona Bloom Blush and Glow palette in today's video, and because this video cut out where I was sharing a lot of my thoughts, I will include it in an upcoming video, but I still wanted to show you guys how the products applied since the application clips were okay. So I didn't focus on the cream products for today's video because my eyeshadow look was pretty bold. I'll go into depth in a video next week because I was planning on including it in another video anyways. So I applied the Duo Glow as blush, and I love this. I think it's such a beautiful color. It just gives your skin a really natural glow, a really natural flush to the cheeks. The only thing is that it does enhance texture, and because my skin is breaking out pretty badly due to, you know, like I said, like the facial combination of traveling, it really enhances any texture that I have going on right now. So I probably wouldn't use these 2 powder products when I'm having a little bit of a rough skin day. I mean, honestly, a little bit of texture isn't a big deal. We all have some kind of texture. It's skin. If you don't want to enhance that, then that's, you know, totally fine. Of course, that's personal preference. For me, I mean, my skin isn't perfect and I can't really mask the fact. So if I like how a blush looks, I'm going to wear it. And I think that this one is so beautiful, so naturally glowy, and I think it's just going to be a great option for spring. So I did apply that in today's video. I definitely like the blush better than the highlighter because, again, even though the blush enhances texture on the cheeks, the highlighter does so even more. So I will go in with it and show you guys how it applies. I do wear it just because I think this is a really convenient palette. So if you are somebody who travels a lot, or if you're somebody who just likes to have all of your cheek products in one compact palette, this definitely is a nice option. So I had like a pretty obvious breakout right here from the extraction, and you can definitely see that it's highlighted with this product. So, you know, even though I said I don't mind products that kind of show texture, this really enhances it and like really highlights it. So I wouldn't mind using the blush, but I probably wouldn't take the extra step to like really bring attention to that area of my face. But since I'm using the palette, I figured I would use this. So for lips, I'm just going to take the ColourPop Lippy Pencil in the shade BFF, which is just a nude, and use that to line my lips and fill them in. And then I'm going to go in with one of the new ColourPop glosses. I'm actually going to take a lighter lipstick. This is the Too Faced lipstick in the shade Send Nudes. This is my favorite lipstick. I would wear it with every single look, but I do try to switch it up and try something a little bit different every once in a while. So this is the ColourPop So Juicy Plumping Gloss. I have 3 shades. I'll swatch these ones for you. They did send these to me in PR. So here's the shade She's Here. I'll probably use this one. This one is called Beechwood. It's a little bit deeper, but again, still sheer. So when you're purchasing these online, just keep that in mind. I'm sure they have swatches, but it looks completely different on the lips and sheared out than it does in the tube. And the last one is in the shade Roundabout, which is more of a pink tone. So these are really pretty. They do have like a pretty strong peppermint scent to them, which is kind of nice. So I think I'm going to go in with this center shade, which is the color She's Here. They're pretty sticky glosses, so I would keep that in mind. I don't typically apply a gloss like straight from the tube. It's been a long time since I've actually had like a tube lip gloss. I just put a little bit on my finger and then apply it like that. I didn't want to over apply it because it is a little bit more of a sticky gloss. And you know how like when you talk and you have a lip gloss on, like sometimes your lips like stick together and then you can see the gloss. I don't know how, like I watch some YouTube videos and people have like the glossiest gloss on and that does not happen to them. But it always happens to me. So I try not to go too overboard with lip gloss, but these definitely have like a plumping feeling to them. I don't know if my lips look plumper. I did overline, not on purpose, on accident with the lip liner. I was struggling with the lip liner for some reason, but they're pretty glossy looking. Like I just applied a very small amount. So if you went in and like really applied this, your lips would look so shiny and so glossy. But again, when I do that, like my lips just, it's not very flattering on me personally. So that is the end of my video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Sometimes it's fun to just sit down and do my makeup and chat with you guys. I would be testing out all of these products on my own anyways, so I figured I would just sit down and film it. So I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Since this was a colorful look, my next video will be a neutral look. I think I'm going to do like a 10-minute makeup look because I do have a makeup routine that I do when I'm in a hurry. I don't feel like wearing a lot of makeup, so I thought I would share that with you guys if you are interested in seeing it. But I'll see you guys on Monday with a new video. Bye.